This is MTG Asset.
I'm Lee.
I'm Dominic. We're here to talk about the new Strixhaven set coming out here shortly.
And how we feel about it, different cards, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're briefly just going to go over a handful of cards that we think are going to be good in the
Our handful
standard
is we have 20
format.
cards up there. Our handful is 20 cards.
It's probably more than that, but just cards we think are good and could see some value.
Or
Not all of
play
them.
in XYZ format, and we'll kind of go over that, or something cool that we want to mess with. So, I think we're going to start it off with the commands.
Yes, we'll start here off with the Boros one, Lore Hold command.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think this command is probably the worst of the new 5, to be straight up. I think that there is 2 specific ones that I want to talk about that are like stupid good. But I'm glad they're doing another set of commands, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, with the 5 mana cost here, I find it really hard it being that constructive.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think we'll move on because we just want to put in there because we're going to talk about the other 3 or 4.
All right, so next we'll talk about the Is It one.
Okay, so this one is what I think is going to be really good because it has a Faithless Looting effect in there. You can get a treasure token, just 2 damage to any target, destroy target artifact. It's electrolyze, but it's also got Faithless Looting. It's also got whatever a destroy artifact is, like Ancient Grudge. It's just all built in one. It's very versatile. It's a good sideboard card.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely standard playable, Pioneer playable even, but I don't think it'll go past that. So now we will talk about the Simic command.
This is one of my favorites. I think just returning, which is a boomerang effect, getting rid of artifact enchantment, which is gonna be a big thing, especially in standard right now. But again, just such a quality versatile thing. 2 1/1 counters, not as much of a big deal. And then shuffling into the graveyard or from the graveyard in the library, also not a big deal. But it's the fact that you can return a creature or planeswalker and counter something at the same time. That's a huge setback to a player.
Yeah, I think though currently in standard you'll most see the return a creature and the counters put on a creature more than the
Mm-hmm.
counter. I don't think there's too many enchantments or artifacts that people worry about in standard right now.
Yeah, this is more of a maybe modern idea or something like that.
Yeah, definitely Pioneer. So now the Orzhov Silver Quill command.
Yep. I mean, you go over this one.
I mean, so you got it kind of does everything Orzhov does. Return a creature CMC 2 or less from the field. It's kind of a very white thing to do. Draw a card, lose a life, which is pretty good in those colors. Sack a creature. I think this is definitely standard playable.
Oh yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Outside of
I just
standard, I don't see this seeing play at all.
The only downside that I don't like about this command, it's a sorcery.
Yeah, yeah, that's a huge downside.
Huge downside. Me and Dom will go back and forth between cards when we're explaining them.
So now we're here with Wither Bloom command.
All right, target player mills 3 cards, returns a land. That's not bad. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent. I mean, in my mind, that's almost abrupt decay, which is fine. But targeted removal of -3, -1. There is so many creatures in this set that has 1 toughness. And it's going to be so good. And then you have a life drain effect just like black, but it's that -3, -1 that I think in standard, this card's going to be a monster.
Yeah, I could see it there. The destroy non-creature though, I think that effect is that makes me a little worried. I mean, the -1, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how relevant it really. We'll have to see what the meta ends up turning be, but I don't see this card really seeing play outside of standard. It just doesn't have the powerful effects that like Assassin's
Oh, yeah.
Trophy is just way better than this.
I'll agree, and I think this is like you said, standard only.
So now we only have about two of the Elder Dragons we want to talk about here. This is Galazith Prismari. I'm gonna butcher these so bad. It's one of these legendary Elder Dragons that when it enters the field, it creates a treasure token, and then artifacts you control have tap, add a mana of any color, spend this mana only on an instance and sorcery spree. So this is kind of like, as you can see in the bottom left corner, like Urza, except for instance and
Mm-hmm.
sorceries.
And blue red.
So there's definitely going to be some good EDH decks built around this commander. It's going to be a very
Oh
fun
yeah,
commander.
I see a lot of extra turns. Turn 5.
Well, unfortunately, with it being a mythic and only going to probably see as a commander, I don't think this card's going to get up there that high.
I'll agree.
Because I doubt this sees any kind of outside of EDH play.
Yeah, I'll agree. Now this is a commander that I think is going to be just so fun to play. It's 7 mana, which is rough, but green mana, that's good because we can ramp. I think it does some crazy cool abilities. I think it's just fun in general. It kind of has the sapling idea with whatever that card is, with the city's blessing that makes 1/1s at every upkeep, not just your upkeep, it's each. Also gains you life, but pay 10 life, untap all your lands. Just super cool in my mind for a blue green deck or a black green deck.
Yeah, I could see this card being more in the 99 than as a commander.
I could
You,
also agree with that.
like I could see Mirian wanting to use this.
Oh, Marin, yeah.
Um, a lot of Gagari decks, I think, rather have this in the 99 versus using it as its commander, just because you can only untap your lands once. So,
They did a lot with that kind of ability where it's a super cool ability. Doesn't do anything crazy, but it's only once per turn, which I guess it's to keep things from going crazy. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say this is Harness Infinity. 7 mana. Exchange your hand and your graveyard, and then you exile it.
I
So
think
this
it
is,
does what Golgari wants to do.
this is just like Praetor's Council. What is that ultimatum from Ikoria? This is just,
Oh yeah.
you're getting towards this card's one of those ones that if you're pushing it out in the game and your graveyard's starting to fill up and your hand's mediocre, you just cast this, start getting all your stuff back.
Also, it's an instant end of the turn. Also, it's a way to an end. It's after a board wipe. It'd be good. I mean, multiple uses for it. I don't think it'll be worth too much, but I think it's a cool card.
Yeah, I think it'll be a couple bucks. The only downside to this, it doesn't give you a no max hand size.
Uh, but that artwork though,
Oh
just
yeah.
awesome. Double major, green blue, copy a creature spell, and it includes legendaries. It's literally unreal. I mean, for 2 extra mana to get any semblance of creatures. I mean, Avenger of Zendikar would be dope. I mean, anything with trample effects, 2 Craterhoof Behemoths. I mean, it's a nail in the coffin if you get something insane with this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it'd be awesome if it was any creature, but I can settle for creatures you control.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try that name. It's a Titan demon. Uh, Whenever it attacks or blocks, you get to sack a creature, but it's an 11/10.
Give it trample, it's a big deal by itself. I don't think it's going to see much play.
It depends. There's a lot of token generation in standard right now.
Even
Um,
with those pests that when they die, you gain life and they lose life.
you gotta think even what is the 7/6 Dino saw modern play at some point in a deck.
Yeah, it's true. I think
So
that was 3 mana. This is 4. That's a huge deal. I think it'd be great in a token deck, but this will be standard only playable.
yeah, I would consider it's probably on the jank level. You'll see it in jank decks.
Mm-hmm. Decisive Denial. Green blue. Versatility. Reminds me of the charms from RTR. Always useful. Always seen play somewhere, at least in EDH or some random decks. I'm sure a couple of these will never see play, but I'm sure there's also gonna be a bunch that do see play that are just good. I think it's the counter. It's a negate, but also has another ability to it. And Simic is top tier right now in many formats. So I think it'll see play in multiple different places.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, this is definitely going to be a very good sideboard card for a lot of decks, especially in standard.
Hmm.
Vanishing Verse. It's an instant for white and a black. Exile target monocolored permanent.
Basically utter hemp, but cheaper.
Like I think a lot of these 2 mana kind of effect rares that they have are going to be really good sideboard cards.
I think this will be if there's ever a white black deck, it's modern playable.
Yeah, that'll be depending on kind of the meta in your area, though. If you know you're not going to run into a lot of multicolor creatures, which is can be the case sometimes. All right, this was one I wanted to talk about. Venerable Warslinger. It's a Vigilance Trample for 3 mana. Whenever he deals damage to a player, you may return target creature with mana cost X or less from your graveyard, where X is the amount of damage he dealt to that player. Boros hasn't always been the great for card draw and getting stuff back from the grave. So, with the amount of good equipments they've been giving the Boros color, I think this is a really good addition to those decks to try to get some of that removal that people have used on you and get your stuff back. Strictly EDH stuff.
That's true. I can agree with that. This is a monster uncommon. It will reduce the cost of auras, it will reduce the cost of spells that target a creature, not just one that you control, but they control. You can make so many insane spells that much better and pump them out so much quicker. Not even just that, it's 2 mana for a 2/2 with menace and lifelink. And it's a legendary creature that can be your commander. You can build a whole deck around him. This uncommon is a card that I think is going to be one of those few uncommons that are going to be a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be on the type of decks in like Pioneer, Modern, and Standard.
Mm-hmm.
EDH, I think this will be EDH in any heavy Orzhov deck that uses a lot of removal.
Removal or targeted enchantments, auras, that kind of stuff. There's so much to this card. It's insane.
Here we go. Reconstruct History. 4 mana, a red and a, 4 mana total. Return up to target artifact card, target enchantment, target instant card, target sorcery, and up to target planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand, and then you exile it. Like I had just said 2 cards ago, it's just getting Boros a way to get everything back from the graveyard that you need to keep on pushing. This is just a really key card for them, those kind of decks.
I think it'll be EDH and draft playable. Anything else, not so much. It's just,
No, this is not one of those uncommons that's going to be worth a lot of money, but it's going to be a good uncommon to have.
yeah, I'll agree to that. Fracture, an unbelievable instant uncommon. Destroy the planeswalker is a huge part. Destroy an artifact or enchantment is just an added bonus. I mean, they're making Orzhov good. There's so many different spells that they or creatures they've given them in this set.
Yeah, and I particularly really like the artwork on this.
I was about to mention that, like just the way they designed it,
Unfortunately, they did not make this a borderless card, which sucks. That would have been really cool.
or one of those full arts like Cryptic Command with textless.
Yeah. So rip apart here's Boros colors. Choose one. Deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroys target artifact enchantment. Just a good all-around Boros card, you know.
It's another sideboard card, another versatile card. I mean, straight up, that's what it is. But again, the biggest downside, sorcery.
I think this like basically is just a better Abrade if you're playing these colors.
I don't know if it's better because of the sorcery aspect.
Well, I thought Abrade's a sorcery too. I thought.
Nope. I believe that's an instant. I can look. Give me a second. It is an instant.
Oh, okay. So Abrade is still slightly better.
Yeah, but it doesn't destroy an enchantment, and it can't target a planeswalker. So it's a matter of what do you prefer.
Yeah.
Now I have to bring this card up. So whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery, copy that spell. So long story short, you cast you cast this, then you cast double cast, and you can have infinite of this and infinite double cast, and then you do some other spells. So you basically need like at minimum 5 mana, but it's infinite damage, infinite spell. It's just kind of a cool common. I think there's other abilities that do it, but bring it up because EDH Jank would be fun with this. So
So
we're gonna go over the land cycle for this set. This is the other half. There'll be $3 to $4 lands. Nothing special. Nothing crazy. I mean, they're pretty straightforward. You know 'em. Shadows over Innistrad lands. That's what they
yep,
are.
we're not gonna go over all of them. Even the Shadow over Innistrad ones, I think the highest one is $3. You know, no.
I will say they did the artwork right on this set. I'm gonna need a foil of each one. But besides that, these are lands to get rid of while they're high.
Uh, so yep, this is the other one. Other lands are including just pay for describe. I
It's a
don't.
good common alternative. I mean, you have the tap lands that enter and give you life, but for a common land, this is top tier in
Yep,
my
and
mind
it's
at least.
also obviously really good for draft too.
Oh yeah, draft this changes.